Okay. So hi guys. I decided to actually do this video differently this time around and just show my face while I'm actually talking to you guys. Yeah, and I feel like I'm actually talking to you guys while I'm shooting or recording my videos rather. So I remember last week I had asked you guys like, how do you want me to do my intros for each and every video / episode, and I didn't get a lot of engagement on that, but it's okay. I think this has given me the perspective that I'd rather just go with where God leads me, and most importantly also the fact that what I'll be currently going through in that week before I actually record my videos. So I normally record my videos each and every Tuesday so that I can just share what is currently happening, and so that it can be more relatable. So I've decided to, looking at what has been happening in life in general and how difficult life can be. Guys, life is so difficult, You can never say, hey, Mina, I got this, I have everything figured out. Sometimes there's a specific component in your life that you are really struggling with, And it's so important to know that there are people that actually care, out there. So I just wanted to start by asking guys, how are you? Like, how have you been? What has been happening? What are the difficulties that you have been experiencing, especially just this week? What has been positive, that has happened during the course of last week and even yesterday and today, I'm doing this so that you guys can just know that someone out there cares and someone out there is actually thinking about you. And this is coming from a place of genuinely just wanting to know, like, how are you and how have things been going on your end. It's also the reason why I'm saying it's also so important for us to also understand the fact that sometimes we underrate the power of kindness towards other people. Sometimes you just asking another person, just a random person, like, how are you, genuinely just asking, like, how are you, how have you been, what has been happening, what are you struggling with, what has been positive that has been happening in your life. It can cause a shift in whatever that the person is currently going through. Just knowing that, a random person just asked me, Buti, how am I doing? Irregardless of whatever that they may be going through. So it's something that I feel like I should do it even more often, because we're going through a lot, guys. We are really going through a lot. And today I just heard like very, very sad news, and I think it's too soon for me to share like what are the news, and I don't think it's my place for me to share that. But I'm feeling a bit sad today. And so what I've been doing the past few days was to actually do a gratitude journal. So I've been writing each and every day. I've been listing 5 things that I am grateful for. And I've started, I think, on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. I started on Sunday, and each and every day I've been listing 5 things that I'm grateful for. And today I've listed these 5 things, and I would want to share them with you. First one is that I'm grateful for my communion with God. Secondly, I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm given another chance to do this life. I'm grateful for my son and that he's healthy. I'm grateful for the the fact that I woke up, like I mentioned, I woke up and I could just breathe on my own involuntarily. And the last one, I feel so grateful to still have a parent, because my dad passed away in 2019. I'm so grateful to still have a parent who loves me and supports me, and knowing for a fact that she's always rooting for me regardless of whatever is happening in my life, Yeah, I think I just want to challenge you guys to say, you know what, how about you also start like your day, or end of your day, end of each and every day, you just write 5 things that you are mostly grateful for, and then just do it for 7 days and see how it works out for you. And maybe after that on the seventh day, you just look into your list and look at what you have written, and then just reflect on them to think, okay, what is it that is missing that I didn't put in that particular list? Guys, when it comes to being grateful, I'm not talking about things that are huge, things that we don't even take into consideration anymore because we're thinking like it has to be in a particular way. The fact that maybe you went to work and you came home alive, the fact that you can still hear the birds chirping outside, the fact that you can speak. All these things, sometimes we take them for granted because it becomes like day-to-day things that we are doing, but there's never a point where we step back and think to ourselves, what if one day I wake up and I'm unable to move my legs, things like that. So the reason why I feel this way, because of how life is so difficult, gratitude is a small part, but it can create a very powerful shift when it comes to our mindset. Because it gives us that indication that instead of focusing on what is missing, we'd rather be focusing on what we already have. I like to say to people that the life that you are currently living is the life that maybe you were once praying for. And right now you are currently living it, in as much as you are still praying for more. But just thinking to yourself that, hey man, I'm driving a car now. Let's say for instance, you're driving a car. This car, I once prayed for it, and now I'm driving it, Although you may be going through other struggles, but the fact that you have what you have been praying for, a new job, now you're pregnant, whatever the case is, sometimes you should just sit back and just look into what do we currently have, and then just embrace that from time to time. So yesterday it was Ayoni's first day of school. Guys, being a parent is so difficult. There are so many positive moments. There are also emotional moments. It's just a mix of everything, And I remember while I was driving there, I just became all emotional, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I'm leaving my child into the hands of people that I don't even know. This is like our new family, but I'm not even sure how this thing is gonna transpire. Anyway, when I got there, I met his teacher for the first time, and obviously my son was crying and I was also emotional, and I think the teacher saw that, and I loved how she validated our experience, my son and I, because at that moment, she was so warm and welcoming, and reassured me that no, mommy, it's fine, he's gonna get better with time. I think that is what I also needed to hear. And the fact that, guys, it's the small things that I pay attention to. When you drop your son, when I drop my son off, there are ladies, like I think they are teachers, they alternate, I'm assuming. So they would come to the car and actually take my son. Things like, "Hi Ayoni, how are you?" All excited to see him. I feel like that creates such a shift in the child, because he actually feels a sense of security. He feels a sense of warmth, by these adults. And I feel like it's going to help him when it comes to his adjustment into this new system and this new family. Yeah, and I feel like this has given me a perspective to say, Pumza, just trust in the process. There are certain things that are really beyond your control, but just trust in the process. This process is different, so just look at it from a different angle and a different perspective. And this has made me also look into what I'm currently going through in the fact that I'm unemployed, and this is a season where I feel a little bit, not a little bit, but I feel so uncomfortable, because this period of my life is filled with a lot of uncertainties and a lot of challenges because of unemployment and the fact that I'm a single mother, and I'm not the primary breadwinner, because the father does assist when it comes to the financial aspects of my son's schooling, but most of the things fall on me. The emotional development, social development, other parts of the financial aspect, and the spiritual development, everything just falls on me. So yeah, it's a lot. And there was a day when I reflected and I thought to myself, I don't know if anyone has ever been in a situation where you've prayed so much about the situation, praying God to take you out of a specific season, but you can see that God wants you to be in that particular season because there's a lesson that needs to be learned and there's growth that needs to happen within that particular season. And I feel like, I'm struggling so much with that, because I want him to take me out of this season, and I feel like he's saying, no, it's not time for you to leave this particular season. There's something that you need to learn from this season. And I think for me, this season has also made me to reflect on patterns of my life, and I've realized that I struggle, guys. I struggle with patience. I'm a person where I deal with emotions and whatnot, but after that I'm like, okay, let's move on, and I feel like patience is a virtue that I'm trying to navigate, and I'm trying to get better at it. I know it's not going to be something that happens just overnight, but I feel like situations are forcing me to actually get better at it, because that's the only way I'll actually know how to be patient through situations. So that's where I am. And I always think to myself, hey, sometimes your pain and your growth can be something that actually assists people or assists masses of people. And I feel like that is what the biggest intention for God is, to say, whatever that you're currently going through, there's a lesson that you need to learn out of it. And most importantly, there are people that can actually benefit from this particular lesson, and masses of people can benefit from this particular lesson. So I'm going to keep you here up until you learn what I want you to learn, so that you can actually go out there and help other people navigate through certain situations or similar situations that you are going through. So guys, I need to get water, because I feel like that was a lot, so I just need to get water. So I'm coming back right now. So I'm back with my water. I needed the water. Okay, let's get to the theme of this particular video. So the theme is career transitioning, right? Going back to school after 31, which is 32, man. I went back to school when I was 32. Anyway, that is the theme of this particular video. So yeah, basically, just to give you a little bit of background, I've always been a person who has always been passionate with human behavior, human emotions, and also just seeing people thrive. So I knew from a very young age that I just wanted to be in a helping profession, whether social work or psychology or whatnot, but I just knew that I wanted to be in a helping profession. So when I did my honors in psychology, it was so difficult. Like after that particular after my honors in psychology, let me put it that way. After my honors in psychology, I felt like I was not ready to progress into my master's in psychology because one, I was not sure what immediately I wanted to be a psychologist at that age, and secondly, I was looking at the different categories within psychology and I was not really sure which one do I like actually, and which one do I feel like my personality fits right into it. So I decided, no man, let me just wait a little bit when it comes to my psychology career path, But we all know that in South Africa, without a master's in psychology, structured masters in psychology that would lead to being registered psychologists, it's difficult for you to find a job because the job opportunities in psychology are very narrow. So at that moment, I was like, okay, what do I do with this particular psychology degree? And I feel like, the education system, like the tertiary level education system, failed us in that aspect because I think we should have been given like career guidance as to, okay, what is it that one can do with this particular degree? Which fields can one go into with this particular degree? So we didn't get that. I'm hoping that things are now different. I'm hoping that things, or maybe if they are not, they are changing. I know in other colleges, they are trying to introduce that shift. Other colleges, they use mostly practical work or practical. Their curriculum is more practical, let me put it that way. So where was I? Hey, when I now my train of thought. Okay. So because I had my honors in psychology, people were like, you know what? Just maybe go into teaching, do your PGCE and teach life orientation. Okay, I was like, okay, that's a great idea. Plus, it's going to give me more stability now. I'll just have a job where I feel like, okay, there's a little bit of stability in my life. And at that time, I was still alone, I didn't have a child, so why not? So I decided, okay, let me do my post-grad certificate in education and then just go into education. So 2017, I started teaching. Okay, so I had thought initially that I'm only going to be teaching for just 2 years. After 2 years, I'm going to go back and actually start applying for my master's. So a person that knows this journey of psychology will know that sometimes you can have your plans, but to get into masters, it is so difficult for some other people, but for some others, they get into masters the first time. I don't know how, but anyway, mine was different. It took longer for me to get into masters. So, hey guys, what is happening with my train of thought? Okay, so I was saying, so 2 years turned into 5 years because I kept on applying and I kept getting rejected. So the third year I reached career stagnation, and yeah, I was not happy at all as a teacher at that moment. And I knew that, no man, something needs to change. But at that moment, I was so fixated, like psychology, because I was not open to other things other than psychology, or other things that I can mix with my psychology honors degree. So I felt like, man, teaching in my third year of teaching, I felt like it was starting to conflict with my role as a teacher, was starting to conflict with my role as a mother, because there came a point whereby my basic salary was not enough anymore. So I would do like extra classes in order for me to get money. So when you're teaching grade 12, you have another thing. Sometimes it's not mandatory, but you just want your kids to excel. So I would be doing extra classes on Saturdays, and there is an incentive for that. So I knew, this incentive will help me to actually supplementing my salary, because whatever incentive that I would get, I would know, okay, I will use it for petrol, and at least I'll have extra money just for leisure or taking my son out, whatever the case is. And then I would even have to go for marking, and marking happens like during holidays. Would go for marking in June, and would go for marking in November, the National Senior Certificate final exams for grade 12s. South Africans would know this. So even though I wouldn't want to go to marking center, I would be forced to go to marking center because I needed that money. And I felt like, now I was a very exhausted mother, let me put it that way. And I felt like, man, I cannot continue like this for a long time. Like I did mention that I fell ill, I think it was 2022, because of the amount of stress that I was in. So 2022, I decided, no, man, I became so desperate. I'm like, now I need to be aggressive when it comes to my plan, because now I'm really, really not happy here. And as much as education gave me financial freedom, I felt like it was starting to affect other areas of my life. It was starting to affect my spiritual life, emotional and psychological life, my social life, and also my physical health. So I felt like I needed change. And at that moment, I was like, I'm gonna try for masters again. But even if I don't go through for masters, I need change. So I was aggressively looking into doing any short courses that would actually help me to develop a specific skill where I wouldn't have to rely on an employer. Like I would actually be able to do things my own, like basically be my own boss, and eventually move from being under a specific structure, being under a specific institution, and moving into entrepreneurship. So that was my goal. But fortunately, I got into masters, and and I'm so sorry, but I feel so thirsty. By the way, maybe you can see I'm a stuffed animals in the background, guys. I still share my bed, my room, my bed, my everything with my son. I don't think he's gonna leave my room anytime soon. That boy is very clingy. In 2023, I was fortunate enough that I got into my master's program, being master's program in counseling psychology. So, guys, when I got the news, I didn't even think twice. Guys, I didn't even think twice, and I knew already, good, teaching, bye, I'm leaving, and me leaving, I did not think of like what could happen in between. But anyway, I took that risk, and I was like, even if it's filled with a lot of uncertainties, I'm leaving. I'm going to pursue this dream of mine because this aligns with my passion. I had this meticulous plan, right? So that 2022, I'm gonna do my coursework. And then 2023, I'm going to do my internship. While I'm doing my internship, also juggling to finish my mini dissertation, because it's part of the component, you know. Then 2023, so I said 2023, more coursework. 2024, finish my mini dissertation and also doing my internship. 2025, I'm writing my board exams, you know. And then after that, I qualify as a psychologist, open up my private practice, make money, boom, you know, I've arrived. What a illusion, because now reality is hitting me in a different way. Why? Because I didn't do my research when it comes to the in-betweens, you know, of this particular program that I'm doing. Firstly, I didn't know that you can only write your board exams. Board exams are only written 3 times in a year: Feb, June, and October. Yes. Which meant that in order for you to be able to write your board exam, 1, you need to have completed your internship, your coursework, and also submitted your mini dissertation and pass your mini dissertation so that you can apply for the board exam. So Mina, I submitted my mini dissertation in 2020, last year. I submitted my mini dissertation last year, first week of November. And already the department told me that you only get your results on the 17th of December. And the closing date to write your board exam in Feb was the 13th of December. And already that was like, what am I going to do now? Because that means that I can only write my board exam in June, you know. Hence, that's why currently I'm unemployed. To be honest, guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. But to be honest, guys, the way the financial struggle is a real thing at this moment, I'm really considering going back to teaching. You know, I'm really considering going back there. Because also, guys, applying for jobs in South Africa, I have no words. You know, if you're a person living in South Africa, you know what it's like applying for jobs in South Africa. It's a hurdle on its own, you know. And looking at the situation at this point, you know, I've never, like, what is currently happening in South Africa is so difficult to actually comprehend, because who would have thought that doctors would be without jobs? Like, I would have never thought would ever get to a point whereby doctors are protesting because there are no jobs. You know, looking at how difficult it is to get into medicine, looking at the challenges that they go through in this particular program while they are doing medicine. Then after all of that, now they need to also write board exams, mind you. After all of that, there are no jobs, you know. What now? So I think also this period of my life has given me so much time to actually reflect and think to myself, okay, I do have this master's. Oh, by the way, guys, before I even get to my reflection part, last week Monday, I received my results for my mini dissertation, and then I had to effect some changes. The results were great. I had to effect some changes, and then I actually sent my supervisor those changes. I think later on Tuesday, and then she said, okay, all the changes are great, and then we submitted our final paper on Wednesday last week. So guys, I completed my master's in counseling psychology. I am so happy. I am so grateful. This is a huge milestone for me, so I'm very, very, very grateful. And the fact that I completed it in record time, and also juggling motherhood and all of that, sometimes I'm in disbelief. Would say, how did this thing happen? But anyway, so yeah. Going back to what I said is that going back to my topic of, even although I'm doing I did my degree in psychology. Now I'm approaching it in a very different looking at the fact that, okay, now I have this degree in psychology. What is it that I can do? What is it that I can do to diversify this particular degree so that I can be my own boss, so that I do not rely on a particular employer to employ me in order for me to eat, in order for me to have an income. What can I do? How can I diversify this particular degree in order for me to have an income and also not losing the passion that psychology has and that has made me to love it the way that I love it. So, yeah. So let me talk about my experience of now going back to school after the age of 30. Guys, going back to school full time with no source of income. Yeah, it was not without challenges, I think I just went in there with God, faith, and hope, And fortunately enough, my support structure was on board. I will not stress enough the importance of a social structure. The challenges that I faced during 2023 and 2024, I had to learn on how to be a student all over again, which stripped off my financial independency, obviously. I had to learn a new town. I had to learn on how to make friends all over again and building a support structure away from home. Just to give you a little bit of context, guys, when you're doing your masters, you are in a class, like we were 12 students, and there different students coming from different universities, different age groups and whatnot. So I was in a class where there were students that were 10 years younger than me, students that were 9 years younger than me, students that were 7 years younger than me. So the age difference varied, But what I can tell you is that now the people that have become my friends, all of them, number one, they're younger than me. One is 10 years younger than me. Shout out to Nhletelo. Another one is 9 years younger than me. Shout out to Nomfundo. And then another one is Andele. She is like 7 years or something. 7 years or 6 years. I can't remember. I don't know. Zandile, So all these people are younger than me. But one thing I can tell you, I can rely on them at any given time. Nhletelo, we grew closer with Nhletelo during my internship year. We leaned on each other a lot during that particular year because we faced a lot of challenges. And we leaned, on each other a lot. There would never be a time whereby, and all of them, they don't have kids, so they don't have the experience of this whole thing of single motherhood and leaving your job and that whole transitioning. It's not part of their reality. But what I can tell you is that the support that I've received from these people now that I call my friends, has been on another level, the one that is 9 years younger than me, when I took Ayoni, my son, to do my internship, when I took Ayoni to Bloemfontein while I was doing my internship, I listed her as an emergency contact number if the school could not reach me. Mind you, this person doesn't have a child of her own, but she was an emergency contact number at my son's school, because I knew for a fact, and she didn't even have a car, and I knew for a fact if they had to call her and tell her that Ayoni, this and this and this is happening, I knew, but she would take an Uber go and actually investigate what is happening at school and actually bring my son to my workplace, because she knew, when it comes to me as Upumza, you cannot separate the two. So guys, I cannot express and stress the importance of a support structure. And a support structure does not only come from your family members, it actually comes from also people that are not your family members, like your friends. So even just to put it out there, I believe that if it wasn't for my mom to actually come to Bloemfontein with me to assist me with my child, I don't think I would have managed to juggle single motherhood all by myself in a new province, and internship all by myself in a different province, and then also to be able to submit in record time my mini dissertation if my mom wasn't there as another parent to assist me in raising my son. So support structure is very, very important, especially when it comes to these career changes and these career transitions. That's new thing. It's so hot, like yeah, I'm burning, like it's really, really, really hot. Anyway, just to continue on the support structure, this is my belief, and I know how things have changed over time, this whole narrative of what do you call it? Do your own thing, this individualistic culture that we have now adapted and that we have now adopted through time. Guys, it's not working most of the time. I don't believe that we can do this life all by ourselves. We need people in this life to help us navigate certain areas of our lives. So a support structure, guys, like I cannot stress the importance of a support structure. Support structure, whether you're a mother, single mother, you need people to support you. You can't be going through life alone. You need people that these people are in my corner. There was this I normally watch I normally participate I normally participate in, there's this lady Rurisa Mthandeki, so she does Bible study and prayer, and she said something so profound in one of the prayer sessions, I think it's last week, and she said Christianity is not an individualistic religion. You cannot do Christianity alone, otherwise you fail. I actually used even that on its own. I was like, this is translated to life in general. Guys, you cannot do life alone, Otherwise, we see a lot of people, where you can see that they are suffering in different areas of their lives, socially, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and all of that. And maybe they can have money, but all these other aspects of their lives, they are really, really, really suffering because they are neglected. It is important for us to have a social structure. We cannot do this life alone, and who we choose to be part of that social structure is also important. And I think I would also like to emphasize the fact that, because of how life has become, and now it's difficult for us to trust people, in the process. I believe that if when you are well, you are emotionally well, and you are spiritually well, psychologically well, and all of these other components, it's easier for you to spot a person that is unhealthy, and it's easier for you to be able to say, this one I do not want him or her to be part of my circle. But you can only do that if when yourself you have done work on yourself as well, so that you can be able to spot what is healthy and what is unhealthy. Now, just to wrap up this particular video, thinking what is the takeaway of this particular video, of this particular episode. So if you are in a career, if you're going through career stagnation and you want a career transition, I think there are different things that maybe you can look into, so that you can actually start your process. First thing I would say personally, what has been assisting me, and hence that's why I started this YouTube channel, was the fact that one, I had a smartphone, and two, I had a Wi-Fi, So I felt like, what, I'm just gonna use those two components to my advantage, So I feel like if you don't have, I think that is where now you can start. Let that be your point of departure, to say, okay, let me invest in a specific smartphone, and also let me invest in Wi-Fi. Guys, we have entered into a digital world, and that is our reality. And there's a lot that we can gain from our social media. It depends on how you use the social media. Use it in a way that it can help you, to look into different career paths and look into this and how you can do it. There are a lot of content creators that are teaching people on how to do that. So looking into having a smartphone that has a Wi-Fi, having a smartphone and also having Wi-Fi, that can actually assist you somewhat. Secondly, if you are looking into transitioning into a different career, and maybe currently you are unemployed, I think you should also look into free courses that specific universities they have, free courses that are delivered by specific universities. I know EUCT has some free courses. I know is it London University or University of London, it has some free courses. And one thing that I love about London University, I think it's London University or University of London, either or. If you want a certificate, I think you only need to pay like $49 in order for you to have a certificate after you've completed that particular free short course. Actually, if you want a certificate, then it's no longer free because you're paying for that particular certificate. But if you don't want, just answer that particular course and then you gain a specific skill, And most importantly, I feel like if you're not working, look into a course that you can actually gain a skill from doing, so that you don't get frustrated into always applying and not getting any feedback. You can actually use the skill to actually monetize it in some way. So, but if you are currently working and you feel like you have reached career stagnation, also look into that. What are the specific universities, and what courses are they actually why am I saying now? What courses are they actually delivering? If you can pay for that particular course that will give you a skill, then do it. But if you can't afford it, just opt for free courses online and just run with it. Also, I know there's a specific lady on Instagram. That particular lady, I've been watching her content a lot. Let me just search for her. I've been watching her content a lot, and she talks about these things of which courses to do, and then what are the different business avenues that one can actually look into so that they can get money. Her name is, let me see. Oh, wait. Yeah, Ululama Kalipi, I think, yeah, this is Ululama. I hope you can see it. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been watching her content a lot. And so, as much as we are looking into what are the skills that you can use, or what are the courses that you can actually enroll yourself into so that you can gain the skills, so that you can monetize that skill, we need to also look into the fact that whatever that you are doing, it also needs to correlate with what is your passion. Do you like to do that? So that you do not get into another phase where you feel like, this is such work, in the process of doing it, because you're going to get to a phase of career stagnation all over again. So sometimes it's so difficult for us to see if a person would say, what is it that you are talented in? Guys, that question is so difficult because sometimes we don't even know what we are good at. But what I can say is that where you can start is actually by asking people that are close to you, what is it that you can see that I'm actually good at? Listen to the feedback that they tell you, or sometimes just randomly a person will say, oh wow, you do this so effortlessly, and those particular feedbacks can give you an indication of actually this is something that I'm good at. So if you take something that you're good at and advance it with a specific skill, it can actually help you into looking into what is it that you can do in order to monetize that specific skill. And also importantly, we are holistic beings. I think this is where I want to wrap up my video. We are holistic beings, which means that we need to look into ourselves in a holistic way, where as much as this video is based on the financial component and looking at the career transitioning and the financial component that is linked to career, a career is also linked to other specific components such as your spiritual life, emotional, psychological, and all of that. And everything requires work, So when you look into these different components, you need to put in the work so that those particular components can be at a state of being healthy. Because without that, then those specific components, when they are neglected, they are likely to affect other components that are actually thriving. So let's look into that. I think it's very important for us to also understand that life has no shortcuts. Everything requires work. So to end off this video, I'd like to say, if you are currently going through a career stagnation, or you know someone that is going through career stagnation, and you find this video very insightful, or you find this video as something that you can use to actually share it with other people, guys, please kindly share it with those that actually need it. Most importantly, please comment on your on the comment section. What is it that Wena has worked for you through your own career transitioning, so that we can assist each other in the best way possible. I think that is the reason why I also created this channel, so that it can form a support group, form a group whereby we assisting each other in the best way possible. And most importantly, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.